Ms. Bro, you have to get the motion and the second and then take it to the floor. Do the motion and then your second and then take it to the floor. Get a motion to approve the, policy. Huh?
We had a motion in the second.
Then we take it to the floor.
Make the motion to consider item number four, motion to adopt revised public school board policy on IDEFC, cameras in special education class. Motion in the second.
Renika Watkins, 707 Mississippi Avenue. So per this policy, it says that if the cameras are out for 2 consecutive days, the school shall provide notice to parents and students in the affected classroom via normal communication channels. What are those channels? What are the standards of communication to a parent in both the school communities?
Well, I know one of the things they do is that they email, I mean, you got the phones that you can use.
And looking at the class, we can almost have some of the class.
So the standard is called, okay. And then, it also says in this one, so I'm sorry, and, you're just gonna call them and notify them, or will they also get written documentation that the cameras were out? So you called them, you told them it was out, but will they get something documenting, that the conversation actually happened?
Shall provide notice.
Okay, you said you're gonna call them? Okay. Next, so also in this, it says that, it strikes out that, audio, video recording in certain special education classrooms upon the written request of a parent or legal guardian. Is that strikeout simply because now it's a standard that it's all in all the classrooms, that they don't have to request it anymore? Okay, thank you.
Roll call vote, Dr. Cook,
Yes.
Ms. Mitchell, Ms. Bro.
Number five, consider a motion to adopt revised Buffalo School Board policy file JDA corporal punishment. And this just adds one word, so corporal punishment does not include, two, the use of seclusion and physical restraint. The word physical is added. Nothing to see.
Motion to item number five, consider motion to adopt the revised public school board policy JDA corporal punishment.
I just have a question about this, I know years ago, about 50 years ago.
CC that. That's to clarify the rule.
They stopped doing proper punishment in our school system, that was just a system, just a decision. So, is proper punishment back in the system, they can still use it on?
No, corporal punishment. What it says here, seclusion and restraint, you have a student that you have to secure. State student, you have to secure, restrain them, does not mean that it's corporal punishment. Corporal punishment is actually having the student or physical force to get them.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're not gonna have to.
I know we don't have corporal punishment, but I heard about a week ago that we did have a teacher to a student. I don't know what we did about that.
question, let me ask that question. Alicia, you gonna think about it before that leaves you. So, was we're saying that all kids can be restrained like this, so all staff is going to be trained? Because they're gonna have to know how to hold these kids properly. Because we've had a situation in the past where, okay, so my question is, will all staff, not just a team, so we have CPI teams, will all staff, since all kids can be restrained
But I
according to
know
the
this
policy?
way back in the early times that, and I think it still exists now, if you were outside and you were teaching, you was in your classroom, and two kids get in a fight, you're gonna try to restrain one, that's just natural. So I think that it should be trained, you know.
And hopefully not
Because
restrain
you just
others.
don't let them stand up there and kill each other.
Right, I agree, yeah, but everybody needs to be trained how to hold.
That's why not have them just trying to keep them from causing any harm to.
Yeah. I was asking with every staff, each one, every staff.
Every staff that's able, we're gonna give them some type of training.
Thank you so much, thank you, thank you. That's all I need to know.
You have some that's physically won't be able to do it. You got
Would you like to do that,
No, ma'am, thank you, okay. That's all right, my name, okay.
Okay, anybody else like to speak on this?
Yeah, I was just gonna say, there's some of these kids are pretty big and there's some small teachers and I wouldn't advise them to get, I know in your heart you'd wanna restrain somebody, but we've had teachers get hurt, even men get hurt trying to break up students and restrain them, so we gotta think of that component.
I think we need to look into that because I don't think that we should, I know you got teachers, you know, that are time, but, still, I don't think that we should just stand by and let two kids kill themselves, you know, they really. That's just my personal opinion. Have to do what we can.
But if it's a 200-pound, 230-pound student, maybe even bigger, and a couple of big ones, and it's a 115, 20-pound woman, I just hate for them to get hurt. Call somebody else to.
Sometimes the size of you that you can't do.
Yeah.
This big, anybody who know John, Uncle John. And Uncle John told the man one time, he was tall and big and he was mad at the man. And the man, he told the man, he said, you know, the bigger you are, the harder you fall. He said, come on, what do you think you're doing? So, I mean, it's just an individual decision. It depends on the person, you know. And if you feel that you don't wanna do that because of your size, then I think that you should have that option, but don't just say because you're small, you can't break the fight, yeah.
Before we go any further about this corporal punishment is, Mr. Lee mentioned teachers spanking a student in the bathroom.
They had a witness.
Under the guidelines, the last sentence of that particular paragraph is reflecting on corrective measures to affect student behavioral modification. Corporal punishment, in parentheses, spanking in Bogalusa City schools shall be permitted and used only as a last resort for students with significant behavioral problems and only within the guidelines provided.
That might be the case now, we need to change it, I'm gonna tell you why, because back in the days, we allowed spanking, they felt, and I'm just being honest, they felt some of it was racial. And, it just caused all kind of problems. And I just don't think we need to go with that, and that particular time, we cut it out. Because if you can't spank everybody, children, sometimes they tell you don't spank mine, and if they tell you don't spank them, you don't spank them. And I feel like if you can't do it for everybody, then you shouldn't just choose certain people.
And the thing also with that, with coming down from the state, corporal punishment, he may read restrain or prohibit somebody from using a certain object is prohibited. And even as a last resort, that should not be a last resort.
So where you gonna do about this, Dr. Miller?
Well, I mean, this,
So then, we can't approve that, then we gonna put it on the table.
well, get a motion to table.
Okay.
I make a motion that we table the corporal punishment.
I need a second.
I got it.
I didn't hear, I can hear something wrong with my ears, I stopped up to see my. So still talk loud because of, okay, I really can. So, we bring it back to the table in a second?
Yeah, you got it.
Okay.
Vote on it.
Okay, let's, we just.
You gotta take a
We just
vote
table it.
on the motion that's live on the floor. Take that vote and then come back and make a motion to table.
It died out of lack of a motion.
It already got a second, we took the
So
comment.
they got a second, first and
You gotta take a vote and it's gotta die. Don't vote for it.
Roll call vote, Dr. Cook,
No.
Ms. Mitchell, Ms. Bro.
The motion is there, and we're gonna have to come back and,
Like, we get a motion to table. Second motion.
we have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Roll call vote, Dr. Cook, Ms. Mitchell, Ms. Bro.
Number 6, consider a motion to adopt revised Bowies School Board Policy File JD discipline. And we only had one change in 3 different sentences, where it said and school employee or school employee. That's the only addition to the policy.
Motion, item number 6, consider motion to adopt revised Bogalusa School Board policy file JD discipline.
I have a motion and a second. Roll call vote.
Did they make a motion?
I heard a motion, you second?
They ain't do a motion in a second. She had to get a motion to, who second?
The second, Dr. Cook.
Who made the motion?
I got Dr. Cook for the motion.
Okay.
Ms. Mitchell, you made the second? She made the second, Ms. Mitchell.
Renika Watkins, 707
I'm telling you.
Mississippi
I
Avenue.
don't-
Okay,
oh,
this
I said I don't know.
particular,
Oh, that's what I'm saying to them.
added the phrase and school employee or school employee. The school district has a variety of employees. Should it only be an employee who is trained with the ability to take disciplinary action, or can any random employee of the system take disciplinary action to correct a student who violates school rules or who interferes with an orderly education
child, taking them out, then that's, when you approach a child that way, a child's gonna give it back to you that way. And I don't know if our employees are being trained on how to communicate properly with these kids. And, you know, they always talking about our kids and our kids from this rural area and our kids ain't got no home training, our kids this and our kids that. Well, our teachers and our employees being trained properly how to handle these kids. And I'm not pointing at nobody, but I'm just saying that our children deserve just to be well treated as any other child, any other school district. And my concern is, over the years, that we find that certain teachers or certain employees, certain bus drivers, certain just don't know how to talk to them. And I don't know if we're not properly training them how to do it, but I just feel like it's something different needs to be done so they can understand that I know Johnny, and I know Johnny, if you get in Johnny's face, he's about to explode on you. They gotta know how to walk away, how to give him a little time outside the door with somebody watching him, monitoring him. I'm not sure if we're doing that properly. I'm not sure we're doing it at all, honestly. But I just think that our behaviors would change if our teachers are properly trained how to do that. I thought that's what the Bailey group was doing, but I'm not sure if they're doing it or not. But I just know that they need to learn that. And I just hope that this board decides to make sure that that is being implemented.
Ms. Mingo, we call that de-escalation tactics,
Correct.
and we're trained on it in healthcare, so I didn't know if there's some similar program, or we just call it de-escalation tactics.
And it works miracles. It really works miracles. Okay.
Anybody else?
Truly understand the wording of this particular policy today. But, you know, when you read this paragraph, and it says each teacher or school employee may take disciplinary action, I don't think that is applicable to this policy, because if you go to the next page, it says disciplinary action by a school employee may include, but is not limited to. You know, oral or written reprimand, oral or counseling, written notification to a parent, or other disciplinary measures approved by the principal and faculty of the school and in compliance with school board policy. I mean, that's a little ambiguous or vague to me in the interpretation of it. And it's not saying that any teacher or school employee can actually discipline a child. That's not what the policy is saying.
We're not
So
giving
there's
them
a
detailed
little,
information how to
right,
discipline
I mean,
an
but, you know,
employee or a child.
I mean,
It's not
personally,
detailed,
I mean, if a teacher sees a student walk on the campus vaping or whatever, then they have a responsibility to that student and other students to take some kind of action.
But
So,
I think what the
I
problem
think
is,
I think we're reading something into discipline that's not here in this policy.
I think like Ms. Mingo was trying to get to, if that person was vaping on campus, and whoever will discipline that child, how will they approach the child in the right way? Sometimes you can approach them in the wrong way, and what you're gonna get is feedback. So,
Well, that's about anything.
Yeah.
And I've learned that in all my years of teaching. I like the bad kids. I really do. Because it was a challenge to me, and I showed them love. I'm gonna tell you, if you give kids love, they're gonna give it back. If you are mean and disrespectful, they're gonna disrespect you. That's gonna happen. So it's all in the way you approach kids and let them know that, you know, you are concerned about them and their welfare. Because, you know what, sometimes you may think that kids don't have problems, there might be some time when you are not even worth looking at. But then you come to kids and that's a big problem in their life. And you need to address it, and you also need to deal with it. some of the teachers were saying they love to come over there to report, but they like her, yeah, they like me because I respected them. I didn't, they had to do what they had to do, but I didn't treat them like animals.
That's why those behavior screeners are important. That's why they're important. Those behavior screeners, they identify those things, and that's why they're important to have for all students.
We can't put it all on the kids now, but we also have a responsibility.
Well, I think we also need to look at this one as well,
Yes, I
because,
think so too. I was
it's a,
just
it,
gonna
it,
get,
trying to implement it, we need to look at,
anybody else have anything that they need to add before we do that?
Well, may I advise, this policy is already in effect. The only thing they're adding is school employee. So if you take school employee out, it says each teacher may take disciplinary action. So if I'm a counselor, custodian, anyone else besides a teacher, if you take that out, it says that I cannot take disciplinary action, which means
That's right.
report it. So tailoring this policy is already in effect. It's just adding the word that not only can a teacher report, a school employee can report. Of course, the disciplinarians and our administration is gonna make a decision on what the punishment is, but it needs to be reported by any employee. That's basically what they're saying. This policy is already in effect.
and because what it says, every teacher and other school employee shall endeavor to hold each accountable for his or her behavior in school, on the playgrounds of the school, on any school bus, on the street, while going and returning from school during intermission and recess, and anytime the school has activities on the grounds.
Dr. Cook, what page are you on? I know, but what,
105.
105.
Paragraph 2.
And that was kind of the point I was trying to make. It's everybody's responsibility. Because, a policy is in effect with the change or the addition of
It just,
another subgroup.
but it just depends too, Mr. Cleo, on what position that person is in. They may have to handle it
Which I- y'all gonna vote?
that
Yeah,
you
I'ma
are
ask.
actually responsible, but you have to deal with it.
She got
You have to deal with it.
I'm say something.
Me,
I have to go around her to her. If she don't look up
I'm
there.
not on that campus, I don't know.
I'ma just press.
If I was, and I saw something, and let's just say I was just.
Perhaps Matt didn't catch it. He
If I
did.
saw something that out of place or taking place, it would be my responsibility to report it to the principal or the disciplinarian in the school.
And our staff do that.
Not go jerk the kid up and shake the teeth out.
The policy is not saying about the jerking or, it's observing.
Yeah.
Observation and, and handling it there, that way, wherever we are, wherever students are, there's a responsibility of employees, that if it's the teachers, educators, principal, custodians, dietitian, whatever it may be, that's our responsibility to observe, to report. We're not talking about snatching somebody up or putting some kind of, punishment on this, but our activity is to observe and take note of it.
See something, say something.
Say something.
Anybody else? Okay.
On page two, oh, I'm sorry, Carla McGee, 1309 Charwood Drive. On page 2 of the same policy, student removal from classroom, and it gives a lot of rules, like if second through fifth, you were removed from the classroom, then you can't go back within 30 minutes unless the teacher gives you a right to go back, and then high school's different. Dr. Hurst made the comment that this is already in effect, but are we doing this? Are we doing this, following this way? Because this is a policy that fits and vote on. And I just don't know that it's being done this way. It's just something to think about.
In your response to your comment or to your bringing out, it's the responsibility that it goes to final channel. And if, the principal, whoever in charge implements it, that's what they supposed to do. Now, are we watching 24/7? No, we're not.
No,
But
you're
if they're-
not.
But if they're responsible for doing it, yes, they are.
But there are people
Not the
who
board's
should
not
be.
doing it.
That's the responsibility of the administration
Right.
of the school and from the board to work with that.
Well, according to some of
I'm
the
not-
teachers, they're saying it's not happening, that's why it's being
In the
pushed.
school, you know, that's what I thought also.
Yeah.
We know we're not.
Yeah, I know you're not.
Yeah, that's whoever approaches the situation, if it's a teacher, if it's a custodian, if it's the principal, whoever deal with that problem. It's left up to them to, to respond.
I wasn't talking about you personally.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
Okay, if the teacher reported it to the
You talk about in
principal,
the
and the
school.
principal,
Right.
took care of the issue, she gonna talk with, Ms. Jefferson, who's over the student service. So that's the supervisor.
Well, the teachers are not reporting it because they're afraid to report it, I'm just being honest with you. That's
Yeah.
what they.
But the teacher shouldn't be afraid.
They shouldn't be though, Ms. K, you say that.
They
but-
shouldn't be
But they
afraid.
are, they are.
Why would they be
I called
afraid?
Ms. Creel and said that to them, they calling me, but
Well,
I'm calling him.
My question to
reporting
you
because
is,
I'm-
why would a teacher be afraid to?
Lose their job.
Come on, Mr. K, be real.
I'm real.
Come on, be real, why you think they're afraid? They gonna be reprimanded for it, come on, be real.
Board members, I don't know, as an employee who spoke out against anything that was going on wrong under my leadership, been fired. I can't speak for previous administration before I got here.
Now, what do you say that again?
They
Ms.
saying
Bino
that
is saying
teachers
teachers are
afraid
afraid to say something.
to report a child or report a problem.
I didn't say they were gonna be fired, I said it's gonna be reprimanded, they don't mean they're gonna be
They're
fired.
scared to report a problem.
Has
That's
it,
what she said.
has a teacher reported to the board that they've been reprimanded because they spoke out about a certain issue that was wrong by my administration? I'm not aware of any teacher being reprimanded.
They just don't speak up. That's it, they just don't speak up.
Well, that show that they're not concerned about the kid or the situation.
No, no, that's not it.
Well, that's the way I look at it. They sure are not concerned if they don't report it.
Okay, all right, let's bring it back to the table.
Roll call vote. Dr. Cook,
Yes.
Ms. Mitchell, Ms. Bro. She said no. She said no. Ms. Bro, can we go back and get a motion and second for 1 and 2? Yeah, but there was no motion made for the first two on the, policy. If we can go back, so we can have it for the minutes.
Okay, let's go back and, can I get a motion?
On number one, is it?
It was 1 and 2.
Now you can do your roll call.
Roll call vote, Dr. Cook,
Yes.
Ms. Mitchell, Ms. Bro.
Okay, let's move on,
That'll conclude that session. That concludes what we did, part of one part. Now we'll go to the finance committee, which I know is Mr. Otis.
Don't only move that book. I ain't playing with you. I ain't playing with you.
Roll call, sister. Finance committee.
Odie Hughes,
Here.
Mr. Cates,
Here.
Mr. Creel.
Here.
Okay, so the, for receiving the consider approval of the negotiated compensation for the 2025 to 26 stipend. Can I get a motion?
Motion is accepted. Number 3, receive consideration approval for differential compensation for 2025 stipend.
Can I, Can I explain it, Mr.?
Go ahead.
Okay, okay. This is a differentiated compensation allocation pay fund plan by the State Department. The State Department allocates money to districts annually, and the districts are gonna receive $38,219. On last year, we gave the stipends for teachers working in high-need schools, defined as those with economically disadvantaged rate of 85% or higher. So you know, all three of our schools are under a Title I program. So what we did this year, also, we included a goal number 2, stipends for critical shortage areas for secondary math 6 through 12, secondary science 6 through 12, and special education K through 12. The State Department gives us certain stipulations that we have to abide by. So we took those goals, and we're gonna do 1 and 2. We're looking at giving certified math teachers, if they sign on, a $4,000 stipend out of this money. They will get it twice a year, like looking at January and the end of the year. But they will have to stay with us to receive that stipend. And also, SPED teachers, SPED is K through 12, but the math are 6 through 12. So, but we're looking at the general fund for the elementary teachers in Bird Avenue and Central to come up with an allocation for them out of the general fund. But this money is coming from the state. So we are shooting 2 goals for this year instead of 1. So we can get some math, certified math teachers. You know, right now we have a shortage of math teachers. So,
With that being said, do we have a motion? Yeah, we late vote, okay, we'll second. Anyone in the public want to comment on this? Alright, so anyone in the public wants to comment on it, roll call vote.
Roll call vote, Mr. Gates,
Yes.
Mr. Creel,
Yes.
Mr. Hughes.
Yes. Number 4, receive and consider approval for the September 2025 financial statements, general fund, food services, special revenue, and collections.
now you have your financial statements in front of you, and you'll see they will be from July through September. And so,
I make a motion that we receive and consider approval of September 2025 financial statement, general fund, food service, special revenues, and school activities.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Anybody from the public want to talk about this?
just have one more copy left.
Watkins,
I have one
707
more
Mississippi Avenue. For this committee, there are no committee meeting minutes from the previous meeting as required by open meeting law. Where are the minutes that addressed this in the last meeting? Minutes are required to be published within 20 days, and all committees must have documented minutes. Thank you.
She always does.
Anyone in the public want to comment on this?
Vote 6.
Roll call vote, Mr. Gates,
Yes.
Mr. Creel,
Yes.
Mr. Hughes.
Right, next item.
I just have one copy.
Okay, 5, receive and consider approval for the sales tax distribution of November 6, 2025, to all full-time employees.
For November the 6th, we're gonna be giving out our sales tax distribution to all full-time employees for, that's every employee. That doesn't matter certificated or non-certificated. So every employee will receive the supplement. I am still, as I say, a lot of time people don't wonder why we don't give the percentages. I still be collecting revenue up until October 31st. They give our sales tax revenue at the last day of the month. So I try to look and see what's those allocations are gonna be, or if it's estimated, or how it's gonna be. So at that time, that's why a lot of time you don't know exactly at this meeting what percentage we're gonna give. So, but in the budget, I have to book a certain percentage based on our prior revenue. So that's why I come up with a percentage for that. So, employees will know that when they get their checks, most of the time they'll look at it and calculate what was the percentage of their sales tax.
That being said, do we have a motion?
I make a motion that we receive and consider approval of sales tax distribution on November 6, 2025 to all full-time employees.
Have a motion and a second. Anyone from the public want to speak on this matter?
Paula McGee, 1309 Charlotte Drive. Have we changed
You wanna speak on it?
Because if we haven't, I don't think you have, but if you haven't, you need to, if, if you're giving them to all full-time employees, because that's not what the policy says. So you
Okay.
have to change the policy if you're gonna do that.
Okay, I can speak on the policy. The policy, few years ago, the board added to the policy, temporary teachers shall be paid at 0 years experience based at a beginning teacher base pay, and they were only receiving just the base pay and sales tax and not the supplement. Upon last year, because of teachers did go, some of them got their certifications up and through November. If they got it after that, we went and paid them. So this year, what the superintendent, we sit down and talk, all employees, if they teaching certificate or not, they will receive the supplement.
Then you need to change it.
And we had, the policy has not changed, but they will receive it.
Long-term subs too?
Not if they're a long-term sub, no. They have to be a full-time employee.
Okay, that's cool,
And they did those last year, we went back and paid them. As Ms. Gihey was here, we paid all of them.
Yeah, you proposing that until you change the policy, you don't pay them before?
It doesn't matter to me, I don't work here anymore. I mean, I take that back, it does matter to me, because I do care about the employees, that's who I do care about, the ones out there. But I hate that we're losing sight that we're still getting people certified. And when you do these things and you only pay them just like somebody sitting next to them that went to school and got what they needed, what message are you sending? That's all I'm saying. Even if it's a different salary, something needs to be different, or why should I go get what I need? And I think we've discussed that many times with the board when we used to have a personnel committee before it was taken away. We discussed that many times. So, yeah, I do care about the employees, so much so that I feel like now we're not encouraging people to go become certified. So we're just getting anybody to teach our students, and that's not fair.
Well, I agree that anybody who's teaching, whether they're certified or not, if they're occupying in teaching, I think they should get something. That they shouldn't get the same thing that a certified people, I do think that they're entitled to something.
And I agree. I just don't think they should get the same as that person next to them that is completely certified. And we have people within just this past year who went and got certified. Now it doesn't really matter, for their own, yeah, but sales tax, no.
Renika Watkins, 707 Mississippi Avenue. I disagree with that wholeheartedly. First and foremost, how do you expect an individual to come in here and work every day and perform the same as the person they're sitting next to and put the same amount of effort and care into our children? And then you tell them that that is weighted different and worth less. We are not attracting a significant amount of certified teachers. What we do have is dedicated people who live in this community, who circulate their dollar in this community. So every dollar you take from them, you take from Bogalusa. They go pay, they spend their money, and you tell their money not worth nothing. No, they should get every dime of their money. Second, if you go on the Bogalusa City School website, you go to departments, and you go to, budget and finance and payroll, the BCS salary schedule is still out there for 2025. That schedule currently does not list any sales tax for the positions of superintendent, director of HR, director of finance. So my question is, since you have changed your language and verbiage to full-time employee instead of eligible employee, what makes them eligible for a sales tax when the rate at which they are paid was not voted on in the salary schedule? Thank you.
Felicia Nino, 736 Avenue G. I totally disagree with Ms. Felicia just said, because as a certified teacher, and I went to school and worked hard to become certified, I don't feel like Joe Blow that just has a degree, some may call it, that has a degree, make the same exact amount that I make. I just feel like that Joe Blow will not be motivated to go get what I got. Do I think Joe Blow should get something? Surely, because they've been in the classroom, I believe they should get something. But should they get exactly what I get? No, I went back to school. I went and got certified. I worked my butt off to do that. I don't agree with that. So I'm saying should get something. Cause
That's
when,
all I said.
yeah,
They should
because
not get anything.
back in the day, when my sister was teaching pre-K three, they had a auxiliary
To the
license.
website, or we
They
can see
was
the
on a
website.
different pay rate. I totally agree with that. Because you didn't have a degree and you wasn't certified. But now it has changed. People don't have to have a degree and they're not certified, and now they getting the same amount. We have too many long-term subs anyway. Our children deserve to have certified teachers, our teachers in that classroom full-time. Because how are we gonna be ready for
Salary
assessment
schedule.
if we are not putting people in there that's gonna stay? We got too many walking out right now, too many teachers walking out these schools. And you can't tell me something not right,
She's
something's
supposed to
wrong
put
with
it
it.
on.
Because everybody just ain't walking out.
Go back to
And then,
the
some
manual.
certified people, we losing them. They're good and certified.
Go up on the HR.
And they
see if
walk.
it's on the
I'm concerned as a grandmother with a child in this district.
Okay.
I'm concerned as an auntie, I got plenty of relatives in this district. And what I'm seeing is this district is going down. And I feel that we gotta do something. I'm challenging the board to do something to get this right. Because I do not wanna see our district go away. We've been here too long and dug too deep into this district for everybody to just think that our children don't deserve what all these other parishes' children are getting. I just feel like that we gotta do something different. It is not working what we're doing. And we need to do something different. We need to do it soon.
For when we leave 1309 Charlie Drive, I just wanna make sure that you didn't misunderstand what I said. I do care about the employees of the school, and I agree with what Ms. Mingo just said. I do think everybody should get something. I just wanna make myself clear on the record. I just don't think it should always be the same between certified and uncertified. That's all I'm saying.
And Ms. Ronika, I want to clarify, I gave Ms. Angela the documents. Ms. Angela, where did you put the 25, 26 on there? Yeah.
I'm on it now.
Okay. I gave them to her to put them on there, so we're sorry that it's not showing, but I did give them. And we'll make sure, again, I'll make sure when I leave here tonight that they are posted.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Roll call vote, Mr. Cates,
I gave them all.
Mr. Creel, Mr.
She
Hughes.
must put that on.
Next we have buildings and grounds.
Roll call.
Here, Willis, Brown's, roll call.
Roll call, Mr. Creel,
Here.
Dr. Williams,
Here.
Mr. Hughes.
As far as, maintenance updates, we haven't had any issues lately with our air conditioning system.
She put 'em on.
I think a little bit of cooler weather along has, helped slow that process. And, the general maintenance of building, our maintenance crew, they're called upon, they act, they take care of business. They completed the handicap access at the front of the building here, which is something we've needed for a long time. I know that, I've had a conversation with, Dr. Hirsch, about, handling this issue on some of the campuses that, we just kinda got lackadaisical,
Thank you.
what we do. As a process, I mean, a daily process, it has to be done all day, every day. You can't just
You see it.
take a hit and miss approach to it. You see trash, pick it up, put it where it belongs. We work hard, during the summertime, we use prisoner labor, to do some things, spruce up our campuses, and, in 5 months,
Yes, I just got a couple of things that I want to bring to the board's attention. I met with Centos today, my staff and I. We're looking into getting uniforms for the custodial staff. So when you do go on campus, you will see that the custodians, maintenance already wear uniforms. So Dr. Hurst had asked me to look in getting the custodians to be able to wear uniforms. So they came today, and we're going to be looking into choosing colors and et cetera to get them to wear uniforms. So when you do go on campus, you'll be able to determine who are custodians, teachers, and et cetera, so you'll know that they are the custodians. Um, we have been having some issues on buses with some cameras, and we sent buses down to Kent Mitchell over the holidays because some of them were not working. So we want to make sure that all buses have operable cameras. So in case something happened, we'll be able to look back and see what's going on the buses. So, and also we're working into getting this tracking program where parents will be able to locate, track the buses as they bring the kids on their way home, so they'll know what time they're going to get to the street lift. So we're looking into getting that. So there are some things that we're bringing to the district that I know around the country, a lot of things been happening, and parents, want to know, what time a kid's gonna get home or where they at and stuff. So, and sometimes buses are held up, so we try to do everything we can when we do run late. Send out a J campus call to parents to let them know that the buses are running late. But with this tracking system, they'll be able to see that the buses may be running behind. So sometimes things will happen. So, and also we're looking at an advanced camera system, whereas we can see more. But we have good system on that camera on those buses now that show a lot. But we want to make sure they're operable. When we pull the buses in to look at them, we want to make sure those cameras are on. So we send in all buses down to Kent Mitchell. They look at them and evaluate them and get. But we've had some buses that wiring was torn out and we didn't know that they were not operable. So we're making sure that has to be operable. But we use those for insurance purposes. We use it for a lot of things. Look at discipline. So we just want to say that we are looking into that. At beginning on Monday coming, J Campus, we're going to have electronic sign-in. Both the district here, central office, are going to be the first to use it. We're going to try it out where we're going to be signing in electronically. It's going to move from here into the schools. So by January 1st, Dr. Hurst stated today, we're going to be live with all school systems. So we want to test it out, make sure. Right now, we're still signing in manually. So we're trying to move into the 21st century, 22nd, whatever. So come up to the new generation. So we're working on that. We're going to see. We've been trying it on small scale, but now we're going to spread it out throughout the district. Custodians, as a maintenance, we've been working very hard. As Mr. Creel, he spoke with me briefly today with the cleanliness of the schools. We want to make sure the schools are clean. I know we may have old schools, but they can be clean. And we just want to make sure that we give them enough. We don't win this summer. We paint. We sending crews over. We hiring vendors to do certain things to try to make it look presentable. So even though things may be old, they still can be clean. And so we're addressing that. That's very important. I know to Dr. Hurst, the district, the board members, the community, the parents especially. We want our kids to have clean schools, clean bathrooms where they can be able to go in and feel comfortable to go in and that they're all clean. So we are definitely, that's one of our top priorities right now, to making sure these schools get clean and stay clean. We work hard in the summer to do that, then relax, get back. But we got to stay on top of it all the time. So I just want to say we have been addressing that daily. So that's all I have as far as like I say, he said the air conditioner, thank God it's cooling off. Them air conditioners took me on out of here. Every day it was an issue. It was getting so hot. But as I stated in a couple of meetings before, we're going to have to buy a big unit for central cafeteria. It's a 30-ton. So now they can start. I have 3 quotes where we can get started on that one. So, and I think there's another one maybe going out that's huge. So, but anyway.
I just have.
Yes, ma'am. Ms. Brooks.
I went back looking through some of my notes for previous meetings. I know that we had a discussion at one point in time about the purchase of a bush hog.
Yes, sir. I talked to him about that.
After having that discussion, I questioned, about the tractor we have. Is it serviceable for using a bush hog? Because we have acres to mow. And I watch those guys on those 0 turns. I couldn't sit on one of those grass there, they could mow it one day and it needs mowing the next. But, the other thing was, I was going back looking through some notes and I ran across something that I think may have fallen through the crack. Or I just wasn't made aware, but I had asked, and we had discussed one time about the purchase of AEDs for each school campus.
We have those.
We have those in place.
High school has two. We have one here. We have one at every school. We had a grant a couple of years ago, so we have all those. We have AEDs.
Employees are
Trained.
trained.
Yes, sir.
And employees regularly have a training.
Now, I can't say about regularly, Dr. Mister. Don't make me say. Yeah. Yeah, they train them, yeah. We have trainers to train them.
That's something that, you need to stay abreast of.
Yeah.
You never know. I know that we have student issues.
High school has about 9 AEDs.
So,
What's needed?
for the sake of the audience, can you tell us what an AED is?
That's
Say
the,
the
It's a-
audience.
that's a,
AED, tell us what that is.
it's
That is a machine
defibrillator, like, defibrillator, kinda like the,
Automated.
it's pretty much foolproof. Because if you're not, if you put the machine in operation and you put the pads on there, if you're not having an actual heart arrhythmia, it will not work. So, but if you are having an issue, it can and will save your life.
I'm having a brain fog.
yes, we have.
Okay, I
Miss
just needed to know that from my own.
Yeah, we've gotten good. They gave us a grant to get, we had some already, but they gave us a grant and we added some.
One time they were back ordered or.
We got them all. They're all.
difficulty getting them.
We have one here at the office too. Miss Bro. Miss Bro.
You finished, Mr. Green?
Yeah.
I just would like to know, you said that you were gonna have, try to get uniforms for the custodians, I think that's good. You have them for the maintenance crew, what about the cooks?
I think they kinda wear, y'all wear uniforms? Yeah.
Black and white. Yeah. At the high school. At the high school, Mom.
Are they like scrubs, or they, what?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
You can wear scrubs or you can wear some t-shirts. But I prefer the scrubs.
Okay, that's what I was thinking, scrubs, okay, I'm good.
Okay, one other thing, I wanna let you know that Dr. Hurst, he spoke with, Representative John Wyble, was it? Okay. We received a $50,000 grant, from the State Department, and we're gonna be using that grant for, it's kinda for the arts, and we're looking at, upgrading the lighting in the auditorium and the curtains. So I'm getting, quotes and figures on that now to complete the grant. So I want to bring that to your attention. Okay, I think that's it.
That committee meeting is adjourned. So now we'll begin to get ready to run our regular board meeting.
Water break?
Yes,
5 minutes, 2 minutes.
Community, before we start the regular board meeting, we have a presentation by Dr. Charity Schaefer, the Tri-Parish STEAM Initiative, and the upcoming Tri-Parish Fall STEAM Festival. Ms. Schaefer, can you come to the podium, please?
Good evening, everyone. My name is Dr. Charity Schaefer. I am a youth development agent from the Southern University Agricultural Research and Extension Center.
From where?
Southern University Agricultural Research and Extension Center.
What school is that?
Just put Jack on.
What's,
Okay, I'm here to speak about, our Tri-Parish STEAM initiative. I'm working with, Ms. Karen Spice Webb. She's the owner and operator of the Washington Parish STEM and Innovative Learning Center. And, we are working together to engage students from St. Helena Parish, Tangipahoa Parish, and also Washington Parish, and immerse them in STEAM activities. So STEAM, science, technology,
She
if
found it.
anybody
Oh,
is
okay,
interested
good.
and wants to, come, it's going to be at Faith Temple Church in Independence, Louisiana. That's the first place that we're holding the STEAM Expo. But we are very open to having one here in Bogalusa, in other areas in Washington Parish, and of course in St. Helena Parish, where I'm from. Does anyone have any questions about this expo?
Can you repeat the first one?
The November 22nd from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. at Faith Temple Church, and I have flyers if anybody wants to see that
For
information.
what ages?
K through 12.
Is it a cost to the students?
No. And also, if there are students who want to attend from Bogalusa, the mayor of Bogalusa has stated that, you guys can email his office, to, get transportation and whatever. The mayor.
It's just that I can't, something don't like this and that.
It's okay, it may be the weather, you know, I'm a tree person, so
I'm gonna
that
ask
pollen
him.
might be.
So if our students are interested, Dr. Hurst, I'm speaking out of turn, I don't know, but if we can get kids wanna go, if we get chaperones and kids, that we'll provide transportation to it, if that's superintendent, if that's,
Persons have to see who are interested. This,
but we have to have chaperones too to go with the kids. Miss Erin already volunteered, so she'll go with her kids.
Oh,
Ronique,
okay.
yeah, we took them to New Orleans.
Any other questions for me? If anybody has questions that they may not, may have questions later, my cell phone number, you can give me a call if you wanna write it down. It is 985-514-1806. And my email is on the flyer.
Had to heck of- Sent it to her yesterday.
Charity, 985-514.
She finna upload it.
Okay, at this time, we'll open our meeting. Dr. Cook, will you lead us in prayer?
Okay, thank you. Let me apply it.
Let us pray. Gracious and eternal Father, we thank you, Father, for this evening. Thank you, Lord, for all that you allowed us to do on today. We lift our hands to us. Now, Lord, we are prepared to go into the meeting. The Master, we ask that you be with you all in the decent order so that we look for a healing of our community, our schools, and the educators and our students who are most important to us right now. Now, Lord, we ask your blessings on this. We ask in Jesus' name, thank you. Amen.
Pledge allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag we have roll call, please.
Roll call, President Case,
Here.
Vice President Dr. Cook,
Present.
Ms. Rowe, Mr. Creel,
Here.
Mr. Hughes,
Here.
Ms. Mitchell, Dr. Williams.
Here. At this time, we'd like to welcome you out to our October board meeting. And at this time, we're gonna deal with item C, approve our minutes and agenda for September 18th, 2025 regular board meeting. Have a motion and a second. And at this time, we'll open it up to the public. Do we have anyone in the public who wants to speak on this?
Rita Watkins, 707 Mississippi Avenue.
Hughes.
On the minutes, it says attendance, then it lists, 4 voting members. But then if you go down to number 3, it says roll call, and it lists all board members. Minutes are required to indicate whether or not a member was present or absent. So voting and attendance is in conflict with roll call, because in that section, it should say present or if they identified themselves. If you go down to section, 4219A1B3 requires that a notice of intent to move into executive session under the provisions of RS 4217A2 be attached to the written public notice of the meeting. That was not done. The notice shall contain a statement identifying any court case number of parties, relative litigation, blah, 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 and a statement identifying the parties involved. It also says the vote of each member on the motion to enter into executive session, along with the reason for entering to the executive session, must be recorded. There is no record of the vote of each member under executive session. So therefore, this board needs to reconsider if that action was taken appropriately. Thank you.
Thank you. Do we have anyone else in the public want to speak? If not, we'll bring it back to the table. All in favor? Aye. Motion carried, none opposed. Next, we'll go to item D, new business. And these are all the policies that we went through in our committee meeting earlier. And, I need a motion to accept policies from 1 to 8. And one was, tabled, and that was item 5, so item 5 will be tabled. So exclude item 5, we would, need a motion for 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, and 7, and 8.
That's not the,
9 is
Just
not a
7.
policy. Oh.
no, 7 is not a
Just
policy item.
7 is not a policy. Okay.
1 through 6, Mr. King,
Okay, if I
except
may,
5.
Yeah.
I would take each one of those individually, and on number 5, I think when that is up for vote, just have a vote to table that.
Okay, then, all right. Mr. Garland. And we'll do them individually. Can I get a motion from the, the attorney, number 1?
Y'all got to go through the
We
votes
get to
then
that
first.
one. I make a motion to approve one. I have a motion for the approval to adopt revised.
Second.
And we have a second. Motion and a second. At this time, we open it up to the public. Do we have anyone in the public who wants to speak on this? If not, we'll bring it back to the table. All in favor? Aye. Carried, none opposed. Item 2, approval to adopt revised Bogalusa City School Board policy, file equal education.
So moved.
We have a motion and a second. This time, we open it up to the public. Do we have anyone in the public who wants to speak on this? Now we'll bring it back to the table. All in favor? Aye. Motion carried, none opposed. Next, we go to item 3. Approval to adopt revised Bogalusa City School Board policy, file education of the student with exceptionality. Have a motion?
Second.
And a second. Do we have anyone in the public want to speak on this? Item 3. If not, we'll bring it back to the table. All in favor? Aye. Motion carried, none opposed. Item 4. Approval to adopt revised Bogalusa City School Board policy, file for cameras on special education classrooms. Have a motion?
Second that motion.
And a second. We open it up to the public. Do we have anyone in the public want to speak on this? If not, we'll bring it back to the table. All in favor? Aye. Motion carried, none opposed. Next, we go to item 6. Approve to adopt revised Bogalusa City School Board policy, discipline.
Mr. Cates, would you mind going back to 5 for me, and then, that'll just be voted down, please?
So 5 was the one we tabled, okay?
Correct, but we have to have it's on the agenda, so I prefer if we just, if you ask for a
Okay, we'll
vote,
go
and then
to
it just gets voted
item
down.
5, approval to adopt revised Bogalusa City School Board policy, corporate punishment. We, in committee, they voted to table it, so we're asking for a vote to table this. Can I get a motion? Motion table. I have a motion and a second. Do we have anyone in the public want to speak on this?
They both said it.
Ms. Mitchell or Mr. Cruz?
All in favor? Alright, motion carried, none opposed. So item 5 is tabled. Now we go to item 6, approval to adopt revised Boulder City School Board Policy 5, discipline. Ms. Mitchell has the report.
That ain't this one. Say that? Mm-mm.
That we're voting and it says any school employee may discipline a child.
Mine says discipline. I got the wrong.
Policy.
You in the policy or you in the- I mean,
And I know I second the motion, but I don't think just any school employee should be able to discipline. I think they can
We
recommend,
recommend the report to
but they should not be able to
discipline.
discipline themselves. I think it should go to the principal.
I don't know if it's when you say discipline, that they do.
I got the wrong one. You probably got the wrong one.
All the
Talking to
report.
the child,
This board
getting the
meeting.
child to the proper place, because that's still a
Committee.
It says take disciplinary action, so then you write back on the report.
That might have been the one she did for you. I might have it.
It's not the action, as we mentioned earlier, not the station. Right, it's got reported.
Get you one of these. Get you one of those.
Wait, gosh, it may be. Committee,
All right.
that's the newest one.
They can discipline, they can
Bring the child and write it up.
write it up and send it to the correct person to handle that.
That's what you were saying, huh, Ms. Rose? Okay. So do I have a motion?
I will vote to approve item number 6.
That's fine.
Provide Boulder City School Board policy.
Because I don't need.
Have a motion and a second. At this time, we open it up to the public. Do we have anyone in the public?
Renika Watkins, 707 Mississippi Avenue. This one got convoluted. Okay, on page 1, you are adding "and school employee." The conflict that I was trying to bring to your attention is on page 2. When it says disciplinary action by a school employee, that was already there. That part is missing teachers. So there's been no real sanitation of this, policy, because why does it say disciplinary action by just a school employee? It looks like they were trying to reconcile
It's
adding
stapled
school
in there.
employees, and then if you
Yeah.
because that was already there. So now you're saying any school employee, and again, I said you should consider adding train, or, because it's very prescriptive in there that says with school board policy, which means on page 2. So, which means that this board has to have a definitive policy that identifies what those school employees need to have in order to be able to discipline a child. We've heard vague information about potential timelines of this person being eventually trained, but the ask was either say all are going to be trained, because yeah, if you want the cafeteria staff to write something up, is that in their normal duties to document how a child performed? No, they would need to be trained to do those things. So at least identify how to make the staff capable and able to do what you're asking or telling them that they can do. Thank you.
For everyone information, these policies come from Fort Hall. And, this is a policy group that does policy for the state of Louisiana. Board of Education. So we have a motion and a second.
I need to say something before you do your motion. I'm just not satisfied with that, because when you say discipline, that's a broad category. And discipline could be like, she's in the cafeteria and a child maybe dropped something, she had to tell a child to pick it up, and that's a form of discipline. I mean, it's just, discipline doesn't mean you gotta pat somebody, or you got to, suspend somebody, or you got to put somebody, discipline just be talking to a child. That's a form of discipline. So, and I do think it does need to report to the head of school. I think that they should know everything that's going on, but that discipline, that's kind of broad. I mean, you can't just say, well, I don't know, I don't do this. It's
go to class, stop skipping, but there's no cafeteria worker, custodian that's going to, you know, put any punishment on the child. They will report it, and any staff can write down what they saw. Tell, yeah, tell what they saw, and then the administration will take over at that point. But if this was to go to court and we have a parent to use that way, it said that teacher can report it, it doesn't say an employee. So they just clearing the language. And what these are fourth off policies, they're kind of old, that's why we're doing new policies. But we're sticking with these until we get our new policies complete, and then we come to clear.
All right, we have a motion and a second on the table.
Who did?
All in favor? Aye. Motion carried.
What number?
4.
Item 7, approval of the differential compensation
He was
for 2025-2026 stipend. We have a motion and a second. At this time, we open it up to the public. Do we have anyone in the public who wants to speak on this issue? Now, we'll bring it back to the table. All in favor? Aye. Motion carries. None opposed. Item number 8. Approval of September 2025 financial statement, general fund, food service, special revenues, and school activity.
Unfortunately, item number 8, the approval of September 25 financial statement, general fund, food service, special revenue, and school activity.
Have a motion? Second. And a second. At this time, we open it up to the public. Do we have anyone in the public who wants to speak on this issue? Now we bring it back to the table. All in favor? Aye. Motion carried, none opposed. Next, item 9. Approval of the sales tax distribution on November 6, 2025 to all full-time employees. Have a motion? And a second. This time, we open it up to the public. Do we have anyone in the public who want to speak on this issue?
Reed Watkins, 707 Mississippi Avenue. So to the question that was posed in committee, this is a change in policy that this board is now voting on, correct? Where will this be published? Because I have asked repeatedly and put in multiple public records requests to get the previous policy. So now that you're creating a new policy, which this did not come out of policy committee, this came out of finance. So in order for you to change this to full-time, this body is now making a change. Where would that be documented?
This is a decision the superintendent and the financial, supervisor.
It's a policy. Where's the
Well,
policy?
they made this policy to do this, so you would have, if you wanna give a clarification,
We'll give it to all full-time employees.
and that's what the superintendent, we run the day-to-day operation.
Documentation. I have put in multiple public records requests. I would like it in writing, the actual policy. Thank you.
Do we have anyone else wanna speak? If not, we'll bring it back to the table, all in favor? Aye. Motion carried, none opposed. Next, we go to the superintendent reports.
Good evening, board, community, staff members. Switch it up a little bit this week. I'm gonna have a couple of departments report out, starting with HR. Ms. Harris will give an HR update. Then we'll have Ms. Timmer come do a short academic presentation, followed by Byrd, Central, and Bogalusa High School.
And good evening, everyone, and thank you for this opportunity to speak. If you look in your gold folders.
I can't hear everybody.
Okay. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for this opportunity to speak. If you look at your gold folders, you will see the new hires that we have. You have any questions? Okay. Thank you.
And I just wanna, you know, there was a comment made earlier that we have certified teachers walking out the door. But
Yes,
I'm
sir.
looking at this list, Ms. Harris, I don't see any resignations, no one has been terminated, and no retirements, correct?
As of this time, no, sir.
I was just wondering, because the person said that certified teachers are walking out the door.
Yes, sir.
But
No, sir,
Nobody who just walked out and left?
not reported yet.
Are you certified that was
That's not
hired?
true.
These here, one, two, as you see, one is not of a teacher.
Right.
But the other three, they come from a different state where they were certified, and we're working on their Louisiana certification. The second one, they will have something, and the last one, they're just finishing up their alternative program, so they are eligible for their certification. Mhm.
We needed additional teachers.
Well, we needed a sped teacher,
I mean, okay.
as you see on this list right here.
And just to make another note, a teacher did reach out to Ms. Harry, with a complaint, and Ms. Harry is addressing that complaint. So the notion that teachers can't voice their concerns or opinions, I take offense to that, because we have to go through a policy. We tell employees to document things, and we wanna support you, but we can't support you if we don't know what it is or what your concerns are. So I know Ms. Carey is handling that particular situation, and she's gonna do her best to support that employee.
All right, thank you.
Next, we have Ms. Tillman. Nope, we keep saying that our rating scale has changed. We gotta keep reminding the public and you all what this is going to look like for Bowie City Schools, in the near future.
Good evening. Good evening, President Cates, Vice President Dr. Cook, Superintendent Henderson, of course, our esteemed board members. And moreover, it's so good to see all of my colleagues as well as our community come out to support us this evening. So, it's a great evening in Bogalusa, and I have some academic updates, and I'll be brief. I'll try to be brief. So, if you go to the first slide for me, please, Ms. Chazon. As you know, we're shifting mindsets and we're accelerating excellence for all of our scholars this year. And so, if you go to the next slide for me.
I'm trying to get it up.
Okay. We can sign out, we need to re-sign in. I'm a visual, so I know, if I can start talking about it, but I can go ahead and start if you'd like me to go ahead and start, it's up to you. So, hopefully the slide will come up so you all will be able to see the actual visual. But I wanted to briefly just bring our attention back to the strategic plan for the district. And so as you know, we are going through the process with our partner Tuned. They're actually going to do a support visit with us next week. We're going to be checking on our progress towards our 4 big rocks. So the first big rock that we have is of course around instructional planning with rigor. And that's where a lot of the work that I do in terms of supporting schools, that's where that bucket of work stands. So I wanted to drill all the way down into teacher collaboration meetings, but before I do that, I wanted to talk about the process that we use in order to ensure that our teachers are supported. Thank you so much. Awesome. You're good. It's technology. All right, so the first thing that we wanted to ensure that we did was that we created a district instructional leadership team. Sounds really fancy, but basically, it consists of central office staff members working together specifically around instructional supports so that we can ensure that our support aligns to the needs of what happens in the classrooms. So, that has been an opportunity for us. We feel like over these past 2.5 years, just about, that we've done a pretty significant job with aligning our vision by department. So it doesn't matter if you're in curriculum instruction or student services, human resources, finance, we all have an aligned vision. And of course, it brings us back to the strategic plan. From there, we discuss, based on the data, what do our school instructional leadership teams need? When we talk about an instructional leadership team at a school, we're talking about the principal, the assistant principal, curriculum coaches, and more importantly, we're talking about teacher leaders. It's really important that we model as a district how we support so by doing that as a district, we ensure that we have leaders on the campus that make these, efforts to go in and align their support based on the needs of students. And so that's where you find the school instructional leadership team. Then we drill all the way into what needs to transpire or connect for students, and that has to actually go through what's called a teacher collaboration meeting. So those meetings, these are best practices that all over the nation that we use. You may hear teachers or educators refer to them as planning meetings or planning periods. Well, teacher collaboration meetings are where it's a concerted effort. It's very structured. It's led by the instructional leadership team, school-based, where we are actually planning lessons to ensure students get the supports that they need around the rigor or the expectations of the standards. And so it's really critical that we pull teachers together weekly, and because that's a best practice, we know that it works. And there are opportunities for us to ensure that, again, we're looking at the standard, the expectations of the standard, and we're actually planning with that backwards design is what we call it. When we look at the standard, we look at the assessment that students will actually be administered at the end of the school year, and we ensure that all of our practices align to what students actually need, and we've been very successful. What you'll hear following me, or the schools, each individual school, they're gonna talk a little bit about how that looks at their schools. So again, when we talk about that instructional planning for rigor, it is a must that that happens. Not only is it a best practice, we just know that it works overall. So I've heard, that there are questions around the new grading policy. So this is actually year 2 for us with this new grading policy, and it's a uniformed grading scale that Louisiana has adopted. So the reason that we adopted, I know, so it's a, well, here's the thing, it used to be a 7-point, so now it's a 10-point. So as a result, what has happened is Louisiana decided that they wanted to be on par with other states, especially those high-performance states like Florida or Massachusetts. And the other thing is, we wanted to ensure that our students had the same grading scale as they would as a college. It mimics that. So when students are, deciding to move forward beyond pre-K through 12, and they, are looking at transcripts, it won't be an issue for colleges to determine what their needs are, or scholarships, or whatever the case. And so that's why we have this uniform grading policy or grading scale across the state of Louisiana. So this is year 2 for us, which, yes ma'am.
Okay, I just need some clarification, because I don't really attend that meeting you guys use. But anyway, when you talking about assessment, you're talking about teachers' assessments of whatever subject they're teaching? Or are you talking about assessment for graduation, those tests that they have to take?
Both. So I'm talking about the formative and the summative assessments. So the teacher created, that would be, those formative, and then summative, that would be the more comprehensive exams, so like an ACT or a LEAP. So we have to ensure that our instruction, because the standards are a certain way within that actual assessment, no matter what that assessment is. They're very high now. And so as a result, what we do is we try to ensure that our planning practices support what those students need to not only meet the expectations of that test, but to meet the expectations of what society needs. In order for them to get a good quality job, these are skills that they must have. So we have to be very certain that teachers receive that support in a structured environment where, we're coaching them and helping them to plan based on what that rigor says, or that expectation
And then
says.
those tests that they take, I'm not talking about the assessment at the end of a class course, I'm talking about the ones that we take in the state.
Yes, ma'am.
Those assessments, do you have any knowledge of, I think you should, I haven't looked at my other skills and everything, because they should give you the number of skills that you're gonna be testing on.
They do.
Oh,
So they give us, what they give us is an assessment guide, and so we can plan backwards. So we start with the actual expectations of the standards, and we can look at the assessment guide. It tells you what's gonna be tested. So we have all of those tools. Now, many years ago, they didn't. But now we know that in order to ensure that kids are successful and that teachers are successful, we have to have these tools. So I believe our State Department has done a really good job with equipping us with the resources that we need. So you will see assessment guides, you'll see achievement level descriptors, and it'll tell you exactly what needs to happen for kids in order for them to score a master or an advanced. What we have to do as leaders is ensure that teachers understand that. So that's where the opportunities are for us. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
It's trying to take something that's very complicated and complex.
do they provide, now I know long years ago, we used to get different, practice assessments from different parishes.
Yes, ma'am.
But does the state have anything that they can give you all that those kids can use as practice to teach, them how to perform the skills that are gonna be on the actual test?
Absolutely. So that would be the Leap 360
Okay.
program that we have, that initiative. And then the other thing is the companies, these assessment companies have our standards, and so we can create our own assessments through those platforms as well to ensure that those
Well,
standards.
that's what they were doing a long time ago. I
Yes,
think that
ma'am.
might have been out of style now, but
Yes,
anyway,
ma'am.
they would create their own and then we would share,
Yes, ma'am.
with other systems.
Oh, yes, yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Which leads me to, back to I'm trying to make the connection, because I'm still a teacher at heart. And so when you look at the uniform grading scale, some of the questions were, well, it looks like the bar's kind of lower. And so, well, in some aspect, because it went from a 7-point to a 10-point, there could be an argument for that. So what we have to go is we have to go back in and say, let's look at these standards during our collaboration, our IoT meetings, to ensure that the rigor is there, that the alignment is there, so that the curriculum is not watered down for students, and the students are challenged and supported. Does that make sense? Okay. And then last but not least, Louisiana has a numeracy focus. Look, the whole nation has a focus on math, because we struggle so much as a nation when it comes to math and science. And so as a result, the State Department reached out to us, and so did Zern Math, which is a curriculum that we have been using for many years, that is for grades K through 5. And with this curriculum, we are now in this program or this initiative, and it's called Zern Math Lift. And I can't remember what the acronym stands for, but it's a Louisiana initiative for math. And what they provide us is with support and coaching for our central office, as well as for our teachers and our leaders, to ensure that students are getting what they need through the curriculum, getting those math standards, and we're able to drill down specifically to their needs. We did get a shout out on our last call with the State Department. We meet with them monthly, all the districts across the state. And I just wanted to shout out Bird Avenue and Central Elementary School for their Zern progress. You'll see here on this chart, what it's showing you is usage. So that's a big thing. So that 96 for K through 2 and that 95%, this is where we want our students to be. This is speaking of the component that's the digital component. When we look at Zern Math, you're going to have a separate digital component that's a part of the core content. It's where students are actually on the computer and they are completing digital lessons. And so we're making progress towards what students need. We know what we're consistent with, specifically Zern. We know that our students are going to be better prepared to meet and exceed those state standards. Do you have any questions for me? Okay. Thank you. So next up, we're gonna have Bird Avenue. So Ms. Galloway is here, and she's gonna continue to talk about what teacher collaboration meetings look like at her school, and then drill into some discipline data as well. And then Central is gonna follow behind, and then the high school. Excuse me.
Good evening. I'll try to be as quick as I can, and I'll talk about because I like to talk a lot, but I will try to be quick. So, our ILT and PLC process, so that begins with our ILT meetings being once a week. And then we move into the PLC process, which is the professional learning community. So our leadership team meets on Thursdays, and then we hold our professional learning communities 2 days a week for our teachers during their planning time. And so that ILT PLC process is a school-wide improvement model where the instructional leadership team uses data. We analyze that
their planning period while their students are at specials. So our particular goal this year for our cycle one on our long range plan that kind of drives our ILT PLC process is that evidence of increased alignment with the rigor of the standards and assessment of instruction as evidence through annotated lesson plans, instructional observations, and student assessment data. And that kind of goes back to what Ms. Tillman just spoke about when we talk about that big rock for our students being rigor. So we really have to make sure that the work that we're doing with our students, the lesson plans that we're teaching, even though we do have scripted lesson plans, we have to make sure that those scripted lesson plans that are written for a basic, just the average student, are differentiated so that our students who are all at all levels can learn from that particular lesson plan. So we begin our ILT process on Thursdays at 10:30 with the instructional team of the school, and at that particular meeting, we determine the need based on student data using our learning walks, going into classrooms and looking at what the students are doing, any kind of walkthroughs or different things that we've, data that we've had from going in and observing teachers. So you see my two thought bubbles, and this is the way my brain works. So when we're planning for this meeting, the first thing that we need to discuss or talk about is how can we build capacity with teachers for annotating for mastery level work. And that has to happen. We have to, if we want mastery level achievement at the end, we have to annotate and teach at a mastery level so that students can perform at a mastery level. And so we have to really think about that. And we've been doing this work for a couple of years at Bird Avenue. This is not anything new that we've been doing through our ILT and PLC process. But coincidentally enough, through the School Support Institute with the state of Louisiana, we just had a meeting in September, and this is exactly what they were teaching us leaders. So something that we've already been doing for 2 or 3 years in this district, the state is just now pushing at the state level. And so that made me really proud to know that we're ahead of what the state is doing on that level. And then you see my other thought bubble over here is how can we increase the rigor within the the HQIM, which is our tier 1 curriculum that we use on a daily basis with our students. And so going through our process, we have our instructional leadership team meeting. We see the needs, we create a plan to push forward in our PLCs on Mondays and Tuesdays. So we do our meeting, it lasts 1 hour for that Thursday, and then we take time between Thursday and Monday, and we prepare and plan everything out that we need for that PLC on Monday. Our instructional coach usually leads that meeting, but there have been instances where I've led the meeting, the assistant principal leads the meeting, and we make it a team effort to make sure that we are all on board with what is going on. So after we do that planning and preparation, we move into our professional learning communities, and you can see some color-coded symbols there. Every meeting that we hold has the 5-step process that we use. We have our new learning, our need, we have our new learning, and then we develop in our PLC meetings. And the way that we do them, day 1, we identify the need, we identify the new learning. Day 2, the teachers spend that 45 minutes developing. So whatever they're required to do to turn their lesson plans in for Thursday, they've got 45 minutes within that time that we set aside for them to be able to do that work. And then they go out, they apply the new learning, and then we go in and we evaluate that new learning. And then it all comes back as a cycle. We collect data when we're going through and doing the application and the evaluation. We collect data, and that cycle starts back over. And it's just a continuous cycle that we do on a weekly basis. So those 2 PLC days are really, really important for our teachers. I know that some complain and say that we're taking their planning period. We are not. We are allowing them to plan, because if we don't guide them in doing that, they're not doing it. So there's my take on the ILT PLC process. You can go to the next slide, Ms. Angela. And then talking about discipline at Bird Avenue, believe it or not, we do not have a lot of problems at Third Avenue, as far as discipline goes. However, um, we do have a need. And so, looking at our major discipline concerns, you can see we've had one fight on the bus where a student has had to be suspended from the bus. We have, students who want to cuss you out and flip you the bird. Okay. And then we do have students who want to fight, and and that's a little bit more severe than just roughhousing or hitting somebody. This is where they're truly wanting to fight. And so you can see the top actions that were taken for each of those major disciplines on the left. And then if you look at our minor discipline concerns, these are the things that we look at as classroom managed behaviors that the teachers should be able to manage unless it becomes a problem to where they're disrupting the classroom. And that happens, especially when you have 24-year-olds in one room together. So you see that we have treats authority with disrespect, roughhousing and putting their hands on one another, they might be kicking each other, disruptive in the classroom, and then failure to pay attention and complete assignments. That one is a little bit more with our first grade students. But the top actions that we do have is we do take their recess, we do take their specials, we make sure that we contact the parents, we invite the parents to come up and hold conferences, we do all those things. We have timeout. The only caveat to the timeout is that we do not have a place that I can go and send you. If you do something right now, I don't have an immediate something that I can punish a 4-year-old for. If I wait and punish a 4-year-old 3 hours later when it's their specials time, they've forgotten what they even did, okay? And so, so you see the timeout in the office with the principal or assistant principal. 9 times out of 10, if you come to Bird Avenue, you're gonna see a kid in our office sitting, writing lines, doing something because we don't have anywhere to place that student, in an immediate situation. And then behavior intervention plans, we do have a behavior interventionist that has been, very very helpful in helping us write intervention plans for students as the need arises. And it's not just a cookie cutter behavior intervention plan, it's something that meets the needs of every student that she may have to write one for, looking at the data of the student. So we do have PBIS, and like I was just saying, at this time we do not have a more punitive punishment where students can be removed from the classroom immediately after a major behavior or disruption. But we do monitor our daily behavior with color clip charts, and that's in every single classroom. It goes home on a calendar daily. The parents know if they were on a green, on a red, on an orange, or whatever daily. That happens in every classroom. And then this is communicated to the parents, of course, with the use of the calendar. And then we have our positive behavior interventions and supports. We have our monthly events, and we do have a couple coming up right now. We have our trunk or treat, and then we also have a Bird Bucks closet where when students are caught doing something good, they earn these coupons, and they're allowed to go shop in the closet for something that they may be interested in. So we're working really hard to help with those behaviors, but there are some issues. We did learn most recently that some teachers were not reporting behaviors to the office because a student who got into a fight was getting the same punishment as a student who was talking too much in class, because we don't have something that's immediate where a student can go in the event that they need immediate discipline.
I like to say that I think that teachers should not send kids to the office unless they just really have to, because what you're doing is what I always told my people, when you send them a meeting, they respect the me, not you.
That's right.
And
You're
so you need to
losing
teach
your
them, 'cause
power.
you have some teachers, that's all they wanna do is sit in the office.
Yes.
You know, I'm not playing.
That's right.
So, but I mean, a teacher should try to work her way with that student as much as she can, so that she can gain the respect of that child.
Yes, ma'am, and I agree with that. Any questions? Trunk or treat is next Thursday. And I don't remember the time. Oh, I think it is 2:30.
Dr. Hurst, board members, administrators, guests, parents, and friends. I'm Michelle Frazier, assistant principal at Central Elementary, and I'm presenting on behalf of our principal, Ms. Otis. Tonight, I'd like to share a quick overview of our instructional priorities and how we're supporting both teacher growth and student success through our collaboration meetings. At Central Elementary, we are focused on creating rigorous and engaging classrooms. Our teachers are annotating lesson plans to highlight questioning, critical thinking, problem solving, and differentiated strategies, ensuring we meet the needs of all learners. School-wide, we have zeroed in on our refinement areas, which are thinking and questioning. As instructional leaders, we model what that looks like during our planning and in the classroom. This helps teachers internalize expectations and in turn guides students to take ownership of their learning so they can apply concepts on various assessments and in real life situations. We regularly analyze student data from both formative and summative assessments. This helps us adjust our instruction, provide targeted support, and keep our focus on continuous improvement and learning. We are also building teacher capacity using the teacher learning rubric, which guides our work with best practices to strengthen refinement areas, promote teacher growth, and ultimately increase student achievement. Collaboration is at the heart of what we do every Tuesday. Our teachers meet during their planning periods for professional learning communities where they analyze data, share strategies, and plan instruction together. The evidence is reflected through our walkthroughs, formal observations, and learning walks that show best practices being implemented in student engagement, growing across classrooms. And if you have any questions, wait for me.
You said wait for who?
Ms. Otis.
Ms. Sharonda is gonna share our
Good evening. I am Ms. Sharonda Smith, the disciplinarian at Central Elementary School, and I will be presenting our discipline data on behalf of our principal, Ms. Otis. Maintaining a safe and respectful learning environment is essential to the success of every student at Central Elementary School. As we work to promote positive behavior and academic growth, it has become increasingly important to address patterns of misconduct that disrupt instruction and threaten the sense of safety and community within our school. This report outlines the top disciplinary concerns, recent interventions, and the comprehensive plan of action being implemented to ensure all students are given the support and structure they need to succeed. Top concerns. Central Elementary has identified 3 primary areas of concern that continue to impact the school's overall climate and student learning: instigating fights, disrespect, and vicious practices. Instigating fights includes verbal or physical behaviors that encourage or provoke conflict between students. This behavior often begins as verbal taunting and peer pressure, but can escalate quickly, creating unsafe situations for both students and staff. Disrespect has been noted towards staff, peers, and school property. This includes refusal to follow directions, use of inappropriate language, and actions that undermine authority or disrupt classroom learning. Such behavior not only interrupts instruction, but also diminishes the respectful atmosphere we strive to maintain. Vicious practices refer to the repeated negative behaviors that create a pattern of disruption or hostility. This action includes chronic defiance and other conduct that affects both the emotional well-being and academic focus of others. When left unaddressed, these behaviors can spread and negatively influence the broader school culture. Top actions. To address these concerns effectively, Central Elementary has implemented several disciplinary actions designed to correct behaviors while still providing opportunities for reflection and growth. In-school suspicion. suspension. ISS serves as a structured environment where students are temporarily removed from their regular classrooms but continue to receive academic support. During ISS, students also receive guidance and reflection time to help them understand the impacts of their behavior and develop strategies for improvement. Out of school suspension, OSS, is served for severe or repeated infractions where safety or school operations are compromised. While removal from the school environment is not the preferred outcome, it is occasionally necessary to protect the well-being of others and emphasize the seriousness of certain behaviors. Additionally, the timeout room has been introduced as a short-term intervention for students who need an opportunity to de-escalate and refocus before returning to class. This space is designed to prevent escalation and allow students to regain self-control without missing extended instructional time. Plan of action. Moving forward, Central Elementary's disciplinary plan emphasizes prevention, consistency, and collaboration. Parent conferences are held promptly when incidents occur to ensure families are informed and actively involved in finding solutions. Building strong partnerships with parents is critical in addressing root causes and reinforcing positive behavior both at school and at home. The administration team will continue to maintain a visible presence throughout the building, especially during peak times such as arrival, transition periods, and dismissal. This proactive approach helps deter this misbehavior and allows administrators to support teachers and students in real time. Teacher reinforcement remains a cornerstone of our plan. Classroom teachers are expected to consistently implement established rules and procedures, ensuring that expectations are clear and consequences are predictable. This consistency helps students understand boundaries and foster a sense of fairness across the school. Finally, behavior monitoring allows us to track trends and identify students with recurring issues. Through this data, we can determine which interventions are effective and which may require adjustments. This process supports a data-driven approach to discipline that focuses on long-term behavior improvement rather than temporary compliance. And next steps, Central Elementary is committed to continue improvement in discipline management and school climate. Upcoming efforts will include additional professional development for teachers on classroom management and de-escalation techniques, as well as training in restorative practices to help students repair relationships and build trust after conflict. The school also plans to expand its positive behavior initiatives to recognize and reward students who constantly demonstrate respect, responsibility, and self-control. Regular review of discipline data will ensure that interventions remain effective and align with the school's mission of providing a safe and supportive environment for all learners. Thank you.
Good evening, everybody. I am Sawyer Blackman-Stokes, and I'm going to talk about our teacher collaboration meeting. But it doesn't just start with our teacher collaboration meeting. So we go all the way back, and what we have is called a pre-ILT. So our pre-ILT, our pre-instructional leadership team, we meet, myself, I'm the head of that, Ms. Williams, who's an AP, Ms. Lewis, who is our instructional coach, and Ms. Pittman. We sit at the table together and we look at the data for the school. We look at instructional data, we look at walkthrough data, we look at the student work data, and then we decide what the needs are of the school during that meeting. After we've had that meeting, during that meeting, we plan what we're going to bring to our instructional leadership team. So it starts with us, and then during our instructional leadership team consists of a representative of English, math, science, social studies, CTE, special education. Our coach is also part of that instructional leadership team, and Ms. Pittman is also part of that as well. So then we sit down and we talk about the needs of our school and how we're going to support teachers. And we talk about what we're going to do specifically to
to support teachers when we go into that, teacher collaboration or that PLC meeting. So we meet, at 7 o'clock in the morning, and they have agreed to do that, even though that is before, their time to come to school. We meet at 7 o'clock in the morning, on Tuesdays, from 7 to 7:45, and we delve into the data, and we talk about what we need to do in order to improve, academic performance for our school, and how we're going to support teachers. After that, after we've had those two meetings, then we bring it to teacher collaboration or to our PLC meeting. And during our teacher collaboration meeting, we look at exactly what we need to look at, which is the student work, but we also look at any data that we have. It might be from iReady, iExcel, walkthrough data, any other learning walks that took place. We started Lexia for reading interventions. So we look at all of that data, and then we come to that teacher collaboration meeting, and we meet once a week. During that time, we introduce any new learning, anything that we want teachers to know. We also help teachers write their lesson plans, because we're looking at whether or not that rigor is in those lesson plans. So right then and there, they get feedback from us, and we help them write those lesson plans. And then after that, we also analyze the students' work, because we want to know whether or not the lesson plan that was written actually aligns to what we are seeing being done in the classroom and what the students are learning in that class, because rigor is so important. We found that doing it this way has been successful, because we're able to delve into the curriculum, we're able to delve into the student work, and we're going to make sure that it aligns so that we can see progress in our students. Anybody have any questions about that? Okay. All right, so then the next part is our discipline update. So I'm actually going to introduce, because we have a discipline team this year, and I'm actually going to introduce our discipline team, and then they will talk about our discipline update. So our assistant principal of discipline is Ms. Kawanda August, and most of them are wearing these gold jackets. Our disciplinarian for high school is Richard McGee. Come on. Our disciplinarian for middle school is Tamika Johnson. So Coach Speedy, or Mr. James Butler, he is here as well, and he is our ISS coordinator. So if you would like to come on up. And one person who is not here is Mr. Aubrey Watson. So what we're doing is we're taking a proactive approach to discipline, and Mr. Watson spends a lot of time walking those hallways, making sure students are where they're supposed to be, peeking into those classrooms, making sure that, oh, I'm sorry. I said I was gonna introduce her and I was gonna let her talk. So you know what? I'm going to sit down. And I'm gonna let her talk. I want to introduce our PIC crew team. Like Ms. Stokes says, Tamika Johnson, she takes care of our middle school. Mr. McGee has our high school. Coach Watson, he's everywhere. He's our eyes and ears constantly in the hallways. And then we have Coach Speedy, who's in ISS, myself, and I want to say Mr. Officer Mitchell is not a disciplinarian, but he is our SRO officer. So he does work with us in those capacities. So I know we kind of wonder, what is a discipline team? This group that you see here, we handle the drills, PBIS, discipline infractions, hall monitoring, and stakeholder support. And I'm not going to try to insult your intelligence with all the reading, but we handle all the other stuff outside of the academic room. So I wanted to give you some lumberjack discipline data, looking at from August to October of this year compared to last year. So, as you can see, we did have an uptick. Total referrals for this year from August to now is 253 compared to 168. This reflects a more consistent documentation and follow through by staff. So at first, we were asking them not to input their major referrals
This also, you'll see willful disobedience, it has an uptick there from 21 to 36. And this is increased, reporting shows staff are addressing minor behaviors early. So when we say minor, we're talking about sleeping in class, uniform violation, eating in class, those type of things. Skipping class and school, and we have noticed this has been a great concern. And we've also been working with our teachers to let them know they have to be present at the door and not just letting them casually walk in. So what we have now is called lumberjack time. We're gonna let Mr. McGee talk about lumberjack time a little bit.
Long jack time. So long jack time is pretty much the time where students are pretty much late for class. And we will basically say, lumberjack time. Teachers are informed to close their doors, and we'll take full time. Those students that are not in class, all of those walk around and those students come to the library. At that time, we look at their, toys, and we call parents. Call parents, let them know what's going on. Some of them may not be aware, they be getting the calls from J Campus, but not hearing from us. So we're, informing them, and that has slacked up on a lot with those kids getting into, class on time. So that's pretty much what lumberjack time is.
Also, we do want to highlight with vaping products. We know that vaping has been a true issue for us at the high school, and I want you to see there's a big drop. We've gone from 20 to 10. And that is in part to our intervention with Catch My Breath. And they also will have halos in the restrooms. So as soon as that halo goes off, one of us is meeting them at the door when they come out of your restroom. Treats authority with disrespect, continue focus on social emotional learning will help in this area, and also participates in fights, not track and better intervention and follow-up. And we just want to say we did not have a fight this week. Right. All right, let's go to the next one. We're working on it, that's right. So, you can see we've had more conferences with students, and this shows an intentional focus on student reflection and restorative conversation. For myself, as well as Ms. Johnson, we do have those students that we have pinpointed, and we have check in, check out. So they meet with me first thing in the morning, I'll meet with Ms. Johnson, we see, get the pulse of how they're feeling and how their day is gonna go. And they may check in with us as well periodically through the day. In-school suspension, consistent use of in-school consequences help students stay connected to the instruction. And if you're ever at the high school, you will definitely hear Coach Speedy asking, where's the work, to get them staying on target in their classroom. My kid was in. Contact your parent, go back, thank you. We have few, parent contacts is a direct reflection of more in-person conferences. So when that student gets sent to the office, instead of just saying, I'm gonna call your mom, no, I need you to come to the school. And that's me right now and talk about it. So that has helped out a lot, and also we've, inputted the recess lunch detention. We have 2 teachers, one on middle school and one on high school, who have graciously taken upon themselves. They keep those students, their lunches are brought to them in their classroom, and they spend their lunch recess with their teacher. And then we have our out of school, and that's only, for reserved for serious incidents, ensuring safety and accountability. You go to this. So I know you wonder what was the big uptick. So our opportunities for growth that we have definitely focused on this school year is 6th grade. And 6th grade has been, they have definitely been one of our, you wanna talk about a rock? That's one of our so that's our opportunity for growth. So what we wanted to look, you can go to the next one, Ms. Andrew. We wanted to look and see, compared to the 6th grade class last year to now. And you can see there's a big uptick in everything. More in school, but this one right here, I want you to see. When you saw the more fights, you see where those fights came from? 6th grade. 6th grade. Last year, this time, we only had 1. This year, we had 2. I checked. And also with willful disobedience, we only had 3 instances
say, right there, the majority of the time, it's the same kids. Over and over, week to week. It's not like you have 5 and 10 kids out of a class that's showing out. It's the 2 or 3 every time that you're having to get them to. So that's why we're trying to, intervene, find things that we can do to help those kids, and work through those issues they may be having.
And we also know that coming from elementary to the middle school, high school campus, it's free.
Yeah.
And they don't know how to absorb and right, and how to act, 'cause they're free. Nobody is actually holding them by hand.
Taking them walking a line.
Right.
And let me interject, we do have Ms. Leah, our counselor on campus as well, so we do try to intervene with that as well.
Okay.
From the health center.
Yes, from the health center.
Thank you.
All right, some of our positives, enhanced visibility
Try to put
with
us
the
down.
discipline team.
Trying to put us
We are
under the
constantly
foot.
moving in and out of the classrooms and the hallways. Major decrease in vaping, and like I said, that goes to our intervention program. If a student gets caught with a vape, they have to complete an intervention program called Catch My Breath, and they are very well assured that the halos work now. They know for it. More complete documentation means clearer data and to support student growth. And I can tell you every week we have to track how much how many infractions we've had, how many referrals. And I also want to say this, I know this is not about discipline, but high school's had the highest in attendance. And restorative focus, the rising conferences shows we are prioritizing relationships and student reflection, better data, better support, and growth mindset. Behavior data isn't just about discipline. I know we talked about that a lot today. It's a measure of engagement, consistency, and support. And that's something that we're working with a lot of our new teachers as well as our seasoned teachers. Students are different. They're not like what they used to be. So you have to be culturally focused, minded, and ready for whatever comes every day, because every day is a new ball game.
Venture.
But we're ready, and we're racing to the finish.
I just want to say one thing before we finish. I am the supervisor, but I am their support team. And every Monday you can ask them at 8:45, what are we on, y'all? So on a Zoom call, they have to report their data. They have to tell me the strategies that they're doing to increase their data and how we're going to move forward and support students and parents. So I appreciate them. I know they go off on me at 8:45 because I said, cut them cameras on, let me hear, and you got to go research that data. And not only that, they have to report it back to the principal and they explain to her, what are we doing and how can we address it? So it's constantly, it's consistent, and I know they say the discipline team don't do a lot. They do a whole lot at each school. And with the help of Ms. Culpepper at Central, and with the help of Ms. Nakia at Bird Avenue, discipline is not out of control. It's getting in control from when it was out of control. I just want to make that clear.
And I would add that, I meet with August every week, and we talk about discipline and we look at the data. So it's a constant, no matter whether it's academic or discipline, it's a constant thing of always looking at the data and seeing where we can improve.
Ms. August, question, those 6th graders, you kind of majority sped 504?
No, sir.
All of them?
They're just sixth graders. We so grateful for Central for that nice gift they sent to us.
That concludes our report.
Next, we'll go to item F. Can I get a motion to, and a second to go into executive session to talk about it? I have a
Roll call
motion.
vote.
Need a second. Mark, call the vote.
Roll call vote. Vice President Dr. Cook,
Yes.
Ms. Bro, Ms. Bro,
To vote to go into executive.
Mr. Creel, Mr. Hughes,
Yes.
Ms. Mitchell, Dr. Williams, President Gates.
Yes.
No.
Come back.
No.
1B3 requires that a notice of intent to move into executive session under provisions of RS 42-17A2 be attached to the written public notice, which it was not. The notice shall contain a statement identifying any court, case number, or parties relative to any pending litigation to be considered at the meeting, and a statement identifying the parties involved and reasonably identifying the subject matter of any prospective litigation for which formal written demand has been made. There are 2 items on this agenda indicated for executive session. There has only been 1 vote. There has been no indication in this Summerall v. Bogalusa City School District case number 121311 that this is related to a hearing requested, a teacher with tenure asking for a hearing, Ms. Paris Summerall. There's been no identification of the parties involved in this case. It strictly states Summerall versus Bogalusa City School District. This is not a proper notification of this board to enter into executive session. It is also a violation of Ms. Summerall's rights. If you do not identify her, it does not say what you're going to discuss, because this requires that you tell us if you're going to talk about her character, if you're going to talk about the case, what you're going to do. In item number 2, receive advice of counsel pursuant to RS 4217, Louisiana Code of Evidence, Article 506. That's just a attorney-client privilege. It does not tell us if you're talking about item 1 or you're talking about another item, as they are identified as 2 separate actions. This must be addressed by this board. You should not enter executive session. It is illegal.
Just for the board's clarification, I don't have any issue with the identification of the case number, and the parties involved. I do want clarification from the board to make sure that the reason basically is number 2 and number 1 is the citation of the case. Is that accurate?
Correct.
Okay. Then I have no issue with it. I think it complies substantially with the statute.
Okay.
Was there a roll call vote? I'm sorry.
Yes. Yeah, we did all. Yeah, we did have roll call.
After the public comment?
She made our public comment.
Right.
You said afterwards, we got to.
Recommend you vote.
Oh, okay.
Roll call vote. Vice President, Dr. Cook?
Yes.
Ms. Rowe? Mr. Creel? Mr. Hughes? Ms. Mitchell? Dr. Williams?
Yes.
President Gates?